Hey everybody, it's Tyler Esselman.
And it's Michael Osinski.
And you have found yourself once again in the clutches of This One Goes to 11.
This One Goes to 11 is it's a podcast, though it apparently does have like claws that can like suck you in or not suck you in, like grab you, whatever. It's a podcast where we ask someone to share an album with us that they believe is perfect.
So perfect, in fact, that 10 out of 10 just isn't good enough.
I appreciate you mixing it up a little bit there. Like we've been talking about needing to mix it up.
Right. And claws, we're personifying the podcast, and it's a monster. It is a monster of many appendages.
And we don't want to get stale because the only thing that stale bread is good for is Thanksgiving stuffing. So
and panzanella.
Oh, okay.
You could use like I love a panzanella.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, and you can make them into croutons that much more easily if the there's a use for stale bread.
We get each other.
We got it.
This is why we do this. Welcome back to season 10, everybody. We hope that you have a nice little bowl of panzanella and something nice to drink as you come back, because you are familiar with all of the guests that we're talking to this season. They're repeat guests, and we have tasked them with nominating an album that they believe is perfect from before they were born. And we're not auditing birthdays or anything like that. We're going on the honor system. So, people could totally pull the wool over our eyes, but thus far, all of the general math seems to check out, right?
Yeah, no one's done it yet. So, and I am 100% sure that the math is mathing on this one. So
that's right. And we're super excited today because we are welcoming back a guest who, whether she knows it or not, is a fan favorite. One of our first guests on the pod, who brought us a real banger on her first appearance, and now brings us yet another legend. Michael, who are we talking to today?
Oh my word! We are welcoming back Tai Verley. Hi. Hello.
Hello, everybody. Hi.
Welcome back, Tai. It's so great to have you. As we said, you nominated a truly legendary album for your first appearance on the pod, Purple Rain by Prince, which was, this podcast has been a great thing for me in many ways. But one of the best things is being able to take these deep dives on albums that, sometimes you just take them for granted. I think that's the danger with some of the most legendary albums that people consider perfect. But our early deep dive into Purple Rain, man, was that a gratifying experience. Would you agree, Michael? Was that how it felt for you too?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, it's how you were telling us beforehand. You don't remember much of what you said?
Not a thing. It's all a blur.
Yeah.
I mean, you said there was some fantastic stories about how you used Prince to get to know people.
Yes,
is what I will say. Yes. Also, like watching Purple Rain with your parents and
bold move,
very uncomfortable
things, and how Prince just also helped you just discover things.
Yeah.
About, and I mean that in clean and dirty ways. So.
Term relations was thrown around, and I think that hits the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Okay. First off, how have you been? It's been years since we've talked like this. Life it's probably thrown you all sorts of fun stuff.
Things are good. I have a toddler now, so I have a 3-year-old. He has many opinions like I do. So I know where he gets that from. And we now have a dog. He might make an appearance very loudly if the doorbell rings.
We welcome dogs.
So we are in support of that, yeah.
But yeah, it's wild thinking about like preparing for this podcast. And my relationship to music is different now because I'm like introducing things to my son, and he'll either like it or he won't. And, he has his reasons, and I want to push for mine. But it's really great to like expose him to a whole bunch of stuff, and whether or not it sticks, it's been cool.
That's amazing. All right, well,
and
before we get too
frightening.
far on that, let's talk about the album that you have chosen. We tasked you with choosing an album from before you were born,
Yes.
that you believe is perfect. So why don't you tell our guests, why don't you tell our listeners, what album hath thou brought before the This One Goes to 11 tribunal for your second appearance?
I have never loved a man the way I loved you. Love you? Love you.
Love you.
Not past tense, in the present tense, Aretha Franklin.
Aretha Franklin.
Yeah.
Another artist that could be mononymous in my, that would be my take, is that when I hear Aretha, I only think of one Aretha.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Is there another?
I mean,
I suppose if we really dug, we could find someone.
Yeah.
Probably.
But still, I feel like you'd refer to yourself as something else, right? If you're named Aretha, but you're not Aretha Franklin. Yeah.
Perhaps.
Agreed.
Well, this was a person, an artist, a personage, a character that I figured would come before the pantheon at some point. But it's funny because when I think of Aretha, I don't really think of albums. I think of kind of singles and sort of like her character in general. We'll get more into that. But so it was great to have the opportunity to kind of zero in on one of her albums, and this one is contextually rich as well. So for those of you out there who might be in a similar place to me and needed a chance to get to know this album in specific, we have a very convenient feature to get you up to speed on who Miss Franklin was and this album. Michael, what is that feature called?
That feature is called The Beginner's Guide to Aretha Franklin's I Never Loved a Man the Way I Love You in 60 Seconds. Yes.
Yes, it is. And
Tyler, once again, you have to do the huge artists.
I do.
I think the last time when Ty was here, I think you did Prince. I think you had to do the thing for Prince.
Yeah, I got my doc here. It's there. I see my doc going all the way back to the very beginning, and yeah, I relish the challenge. This is a good thing for me. It's good for my health. So,
and of course, Ty, you get to evaluate Tyler's case before you start making your own. So be strict but fair is what I would say. Okay. All right, Tyler, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, starting in 3, 2, 1, go.
Aretha, let's put a little R-E-S-P-E-C-T on that name. Aretha Louise Franklin, born in Memphis, bred in Detroit, the daughter of Barbara and C.L. Franklin. Her mother, an accomplished gospel musician in her own right, passed just before Aretha turned 10, a turning point that spurred on her musical emergence. She taught herself to play piano by ear and began to sing at her father's church, the New Bethel Baptist Church. So clear was her dynamism already that C.L. gave her a platform to perform on his Caravan tours and helped her secure a recording contract with JVB Records and eventually Columbia, where Franklin established herself as one of the most stirring, soulful voices in pop music. But the commercial returns from those early years fell short as Aretha honed in on her most essential sound. With the expiration of her contract with Columbia, Aretha signed with Atlantic Records, where she struck up an immensely fruitful collaboration with legendary producer Jerry Wexler. With Atlantic, Franklin let her gospel roots shine through in such a way that rocketed her to commercial and critical acclaim. Her 10th studio album, I Never Loved a Man the Way I Love You, anchored with what would become her trademark track Respect, solidified Aretha's legend as one of the most essential and influential musical voices of the 20th century. Did I leave a lot of time on there?
No, you went a little over.
Did I? Okay, good.
But I stopped it because I was like, if Aretha were giving an acceptance speech,
she don't care about
and there
time.
were a time limit, she would have kept on going. So I was like, when we reached time, I was like, no, we're stopping the clock right now.
Thank you.
That was my logic.
Aretha's smiling on us somewhere.
Yes. All right, Ty, how do you do? What do you think?
It's pretty good. I mean, like the background of her is like, it's so important, and yet like that's not why I think a lot of people listen to her. But like, totally. I love hearing it. It's just a reminder of how far she's gone and like her accomplishments, especially with the learning piano. My God, like that she's so talented, and I just feel like artists these days, not so much.
That's an interesting. It's like, is the blower Is the bar lower, I guess? I don't know. It feels like maybe the bar's higher than ever for something that genuinely stirs us.
I genuinely believe the bar is super low. It's maybe in the ground. And I believe like that showmanship definitely has a higher bar, but I think in terms of actual talent and like skill, it's gone. There's just no one knows a note when you play a piano. Like they don't know what note that is. They don't
Sure.
they I just also think of like Dolly Parton can play her damn nails. Like that's a skill. That probably it is. It's a skill, and no one does that. Like no one's that good anymore. But wordmanship and performance wise, probably 10 times Aretha, 10 times, you know, anything that they were doing because they didn't need to do that in their time. So that's my.
I think I see what you're saying. Well, this is kind of getting us on to our next question. You know, we invited you back because we love you, and we wanted to have another chance to talk to the people that we've had such a good time with on this podcast. And so the first time that we had you here, we asked you kind of about your history with music and how it shaped you, how it shaped your voice and what you do and how you move through the world. But since we're having you back, this is kind of like a check-in. You know, you already talked a little bit about how you're introducing music to your kid and how that's kind of like a new way that music is living in you, and that's a really exciting thing. I want to hear more about that. But how else is music living in you these days? What's it doing for you in your life today?
I mean, it's basically filling my me time because there's so little of it. Like that sounds sad as I'm saying it out loud, but like he's napping right now, my son. It's 1 something in the afternoon and he'll be down for the next 2 hours, and it just feels like this is the time that I get to listen to whatever I want that doesn't involve Mickey Mouse. And
or Bluey.
Or Bluey. Love Bluey, but also I'm so sick of you, my little blue dog.
You sweet Australian bastard.
But yeah, it's making me remember like who I am and why I am, and why I do the things that I do, because otherwise it's just filled with a very present, like now we need to listen to anything he wants, or we need to be doing something that fulfills him. So for me, I get very little, there's just very little time to just exist. And I don't really find myself listening to a lot of newer music because it just doesn't sit, it feels like a more present situation. And so it is a crawling back to old stuff that like I like, or my parents liked, or my grandparents liked. Like it's just making me remember who I am. And that's, this was a good exercise.
Yeah, totally. Glad you think so too.
I mean, I could totally see that like, I mean, we've been joking, there have been several guests this season where we talk about the fact that, you know, you reach a certain age and you actually don't listen to new music. You just keep listening to the same things over and over again. And you wonder, like, I mean, I've been guilty of that for like a decade already, but like, I do try and find new things, but you're right. There is something about going back. It's not that they make you feel the same way that they made you feel when you were, you know, like in your 20s or you were a teenager. It's just, there's something familiar and comforting about them, it seems like.
Yeah, and I don't know, there's just a glimmer of I'm not gone, if that makes sense. Like I've thrown myself into motherhood, and I've thrown myself into this new way of being, and that feels almost like I really don't know who I am anymore. And so it's just a glimmer of like, no, you remember this, you like this. and
Totally.
You're still here.
So is it pods in, kind of like going into the first circle? Is that that's kind of the mode, isn't it? That's the image I have in my head of you going down this time travel path.
Yeah, I mean, I'm using some very old headphones right now, but
Yeah.
most of the time it's just plug in and either just keep doing stuff, cleaning or grading papers or any number of things that I'm doing, but it is a very much a bubble
Yeah.
of I was gonna say silence, but it's not. It's a bubble of just me.
Yeah,
Mhm.
totally. Well, besides, we'll get to Aretha in a second, but besides, what other artists are in that rotation right now? What kind of
I mean,
what kind of
Prince
time
is
travel are
always
you
there.
doing? Prince is there good. I kind of expected so. Yeah.
Doechii, which is a new artist, like I really love her
She's
and
great.
her sound. And oh my God, Olivia Dean, also new
Yeah.
artist.
Can't get
But
enough.
just love. It's just soulful stuff, and then like, fuck this, fuck that. Oh, bleep me. But
Or not.
No way. Will
but it's
not.
but it is a lot of music that feels like empowering and forward bouncing is what I would call it. But also very much like, we just glide into a room and everything's fine. And I can adjust pretty easily to the vibes in a room. It'll like calm my heart rate down. That is also a thing.
Mm.
So,
Doechie's calming your heart rate down, or is
well,
Olivia Dean's
Olivia
doing
Dean
more of
is.
that? I was gonna
Doechii is
Yeah.
more
say.
like, like
Yeah.
dance and
That's the
like
Jekyll and Hyde, right? That's
my
a really good combo, actually.
my husband is like, whenever you're listening to her, it's like, I better leave her alone. It's like, yes, like just
Right.
in my house jamming out. So
It's funny because the music, to as plugged in as I feel like I can be about what's happening in new music, anything, the whole Doechii wave, it feels like the cycle happens so quick because I remember Doechii really popped off for a second last year, and then the conversation just moves on so quick. I feel like it's a disservice to people who work really hard. And I also think Doechii and Olivia Dean, from what I know about them, they're both doing this thing where they've been hustling for years before
years.
they had that moment. They were doing the whole YouTube
Yes.
thing, self-promoting, same way Chapel Roan was doing. So I think it's really admirable the way their persistence. And I think that set them up that even when the conversation moves on to whatever's the new thing in the hype machine, I think
hmm
those gals will have some staying power. I feel pretty
I
confident about
hope so. Yeah. I mean, I love, I love Cardi B. I do. I love there are aspects of her artistry that really I'm like, yes, and. But it's just amazing to me that her staying power versus Doechi's. Yeah, I'm not trying to compare the two, and yet I am. It's just they're different great things about each of them. But I don't find the same lyrical uh like just the she's like a wordsmith. She's
it. Yeah.
Shakespeare and awesomeness in
Yes.
this black woman's body. It's awesome.
Yes.
That's a good way of describing it. Maybe part of the reason like Doechii isn't. I mean, I think Doechii's going to be coming back with more stuff, obviously, but I think she's just a hair more challenging for the listener than Cardi B is, and so and there's
Yes.
something a little more complex going on there, and so it's just slightly less digestible, but I think still very digestible
Like
in a good
Kendrick.
way.
Like
Yeah.
Kendrick, I'd say,
Yeah.
because like Kendrick doesn't really have, I'd say like, oh yeah, we're really loud fans. It's like, no, we listen to him. We've been listening to him
Yeah.
for years.
Different echelon. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so let's hear about how you discovered this album. I'm actually curious to know whether you just discovered Aretha first and then the album, or like was this album your introduction to her? Is it this album specifically, or could you just consume everything that she has ever done? That's a lot of questions. Go for it. Whatever you want to answer.
That was a lot of questions. Let's see if I answer any of it.
Just let it wash
My
over you
favorite
and
color
talk
is
about
blue.
Aretha.
No, I
Yeah.
want to just go the other route. So when I was a kid, my parents had a record player and they had a whole like drawer full of records that they would just play. And like, even as, I don't say as young as 2, I can remember them playing stuff. And this was one of the albums that was in the rotation. Um, the other one was like Thriller, Michael Jackson, which like, that's a whole other story. But it's just interesting that the way that I came to this was through them. That was on an actual record player. And I remember dancing to Respect. It was on basically, well, I'd say every Sunday because it's like a cleaning day. I associate it with downtime. Well, it's not downtime when you're cleaning, but like it's a day when things get a reset and the music is playing. And so that's what like this album came to me that way. But it's still something that I will listen to in a track way. Not every song, in my opinion, is the most awesome, but the overall album it's amazing.
It certainly seems like of her discography, it seems like the one that is the most densely packed collection of songs where she's at her best. I mean, not that she's ever like, I'm trying to think, I can't really think of Aretha when she wasn't at her best, but it definitely feels that way. And I mean, I could see it being sort of like a cleaning album. Like that's a genre of album that I feel like we don't talk about it enough, which is the like, what do you put on while you're cleaning?
Yeah, some people put on things that are very much like motivationally upbeat, and I would say my parents, for the most part, were like trying to just be calm, and I get that now as a parent of like, let's just all just be chill for
the level down.
Yeah. couple of hours.
Right. Yeah. So is this one's kind of lived with you over the years then? It's changed. Did you ever like do a deep dive into Aretha and kind of like learning more about her or anything like that? Is that her place that she holds for you?
I feel like she's family, if that makes sense. Like there's always Aretha being played in and around my family, and one of my dad's favorite movies is like the Blues Brothers, like the first one, and I think she's in both actually, singing 2 different kinds of songs. But I feel like she's just a person that I will return to always, and her voice, her songs are just familiar and like like chicken soup. She's chicken soup for the soul.
Totally. Yeah.
Did you know when you were that young and hearing her, like how amazing her voice is or was? Like, was that something you were aware of, or was it just like, oh, this makes me feel like dancing. This makes me feel like home.
I don't think her voice was even a part of it. And now, like as an actor, that tried to become a singer, Aretha is high. Aretha is way up in the octave range, and not the average person can do it. So you gotta respect it now. But yeah, as a kid, I think I was just like, she sounds like she could use a hug, and that is awesome.
that was conveyed to you so clearly. Yeah, totally. I think it was amazing also that she, the way in that era, the way that people just beat up their voices and their instruments, smoking and drinking and stuff like that. It's like, it's incredible. I think about it like relative to baseball players too, because baseball players now, they're just getting injured every 20 minutes. This is for our sports podcast, but they're getting injured every 20 minutes when people used to throw complete games back to back in the 70s and 80s. I don't know what the difference is now. And I think maybe just some of it is our awareness of kind of the factors that affect our instruments. I think is relevant to any kind of performing artist, really. But it kind of puts into context just what a feat the kind of performing they were doing was at that time in that environment.
I can't imagine, because I know like they were doing live shows a heck of a lot more than they do now, and I can't imagine the the detriment to her whole body, but I don't. Well, that's a lie. I can't say that I heard a lot of her singing as she got older, except for the Nessun Dorma that everyone needs to find of her doing opera one night when I think Luciano Pavarotti was supposed to do it and he couldn't do it. And you have to find Aretha doing Nessun Dorma.
Okay.
She knocks it out of the park.
Are we surprised?
So good. She's got a fur coat on too. It was a whole moment, and like the fur coat comes off.
I love it. I love it.
But she's like, so. It was funny. Like I was listening to the album, like this week for preparing for, it, and I think the reason I asked you about her voice is because when we all do karaoke. We think like, oh, I want to be a lead singer. Like I'm gonna kill this. And then you listen to the way Aretha sings, and you think about every time you step in front of a microphone to do karaoke, and I don't know about y'all, but like I sort of like instantly hold back a little bit, and everything I've heard Aretha sing, she is not holding back, which takes like real guts because there's a vulnerability that happens when you really commit to the performance that much. I mean, and it helps that she had the instrument to do that. But I was just thinking about like very few people can do what she did when she was singing.
No, I love that. I mean, I think also it's like every biopic about her is like about this confidence, but I just wonder, where it actually came from. We will never know. Because I think that especially in the time, it was rare to find a Black woman who was like, nope, this is what I'm gonna do. and you're just gonna like it.
Especially her story. I mean, not that we need to belabor the pain and trauma that she went through in her life, but just to say that there's a lot of it. And like kind of the fact that it hasn't come to define her story in the way that I think a lot of other Prince, I think Prince's story just might be a little fundamentally tragic. Like that might just be the story of Prince. Whereas I was thinking about this just now, and I don't think Aretha's story is tragic in total. What do you think of that?
I agree, but I think that like you can listen to her music and know that she had a life, but it was not. This is hard to say. It's like it's in the music, but yet it's not. Like it relate. It's universal. It can relate to me more so than just be very specific to her. You can pull it aside from what she went through, and have it stand on its own, whilst also knowing it can't. So I don't know. I think it's. I just think of her as so enmeshed in my musical knowledge that I feel like her history is my history, but that's not the case.
I think there's probably something fundamentally American about Aretha Franklin. Like I think there's a shared cultural history that she gives voice to. And I think there's some quotes I read from like maybe it was the Presidential Medal of Freedom speech. I actually think Bush gave that to her, but it was something. But Obama was talking about her. I know, crazy, right? But Obama was talking about her and said something like, her music is like an upwelling of America or something. I'm paraphrasing. And I do think that she has a unique power among all of the artists to simultaneously be so herself, but also be archetypal in a way that allows us all to connect to her. And this is the universal quality that I think we've been kind of touching on over the course of this whole podcast. And she has it somehow, some kind of instinctive way that she is a universally accessible in that. So we've kind of talked around the specific songs that are in this. We've talked about the album itself, but let's zero in. Let's say, Tai, what do you believe is the standout track from this album?
It's definitely Dr. Feelgood.
Well, dear listeners and viewers, if you are experiencing us on the YouTubes, you will now get to enjoy hearing and seeing whatever sort of crazy video they've concocted for the song on YouTube. So you get to hear the song in its entirety. And then after that, you should come on back and we'll hear more from Tai about what makes it stand out. And, just, you like Tai. We want to hear more from her. Come on back.